that off so that the pigments water can spread in the material. You can leave it on and the pigments will stay more on the surface because the plastic back will keep it from saturating and spreading on the fabric. So you get to experiment and use it any way that works for you. It also is similar to canvas, similar to silk. Paper is, especially rice paper, also very, very sensitive, absorbent, but polished, plate smooth drawing paper, which I have used a lot in my portfolio of watercolor paintings. I often mix Prismacolor pencils. They are water soluble, but we can get very, very detailed fine lines with a sharp pencil. So I love to mix those two mediums, and the plate smooth paper is very exacting. Let's describe it that way. If you use which I'll demonstrate maybe the next live stream, which will be Sunday, not my usual Monday. I have appointments on Monday, so we're going to go Sunday. Usually they're always Monday and Thursday at noon, as best I can stay to that schedule, but life happens, as we know. And so we're going to show you the difference between working on really smooth paper with the Prismacolor pencils, that especially the white has a very waxy component to it, so that you can literally draw on the paper and that will stop the pigment, like draw a line that the eye can barely see, but it will stop the pigment from spreading past it. So it's very magical when you either use water to draw a line or the Prismacolor white on white paper. It's pretty much invisible, but when you tip the brush into it that's saturated with pigment, it spreads into that space that you've defined that the eye sometimes can barely see. So it's kind of magic. So we'll show you that later, but today we're going to continue on this giclée fabric. This is something I'm working on this fabric that is, I'm going to keep working on it and showing you as it's in progress. It's more like a watercolor painting than my other style that I like, this minimalistic. So I'm going to do this peony and branch in front of you today. Bodhi's also going to come out and do his first branch. This is his first bamboo.
Let me know when you need me, and then I'll come running.
Pardon me?
Let me know when you want me to come out, and I will.
Okay, come on out. So here's Bodhi's very first, fine art painting in his artistic development. We're showing you this. This is what a first-timer did with bamboo on this giclée paper. Bamboo is the inspiration. Sumi brushstroke. So today he's going to do his first branch. And I even brought a branch for inspiration.
That's a good stick.
That's a beautiful branch, isn't it?
Nice.
Okay. So let us...
So we're going to use the overhead camera for this. We'll switch to that in a moment.
Yes. So one of the things I often do is I do a pencil line with just a regular number 2 pencil, the most common tool in art, life, of drawing or writing, to make a branch, just to give myself a shape. And you can start that way, or you can go for it with the pigment, whatever you like. So which is your preference, Bo? And this branch is just a branch, and we don't have to use it. You don't have to use it. You can just use it as inspiration. What I like about it is, let's show, branch things that happen. Maybe we want to use the overhead camera to show. Oh, okay. So here's like this variety that happens in this.
If you look over here, you can see where.
Okay. And this is where the bark of the branch and the weather kind of gave it a nice polish. And here's where it's barky. Like that word. And here's where it's got a little of both. So, so if you want to use that as inspiration, there it is. Now, do you want to draw it first, or just go for painting it?
I think you're directing.
All
tell
right.
me whatever you think is best.
Let's give you the experience of putting a nice flowing branch-like feeling shape on there. Try not to go off the edges. Give a little breathing room on the top, bottom, and sides. And another thing I suggest is not going right in the center. And if there's a big curve, you don't want it in the middle of the paper. You don't want the branch in the middle. That is not as aesthetically pleasing. So the reason I would suggest the pencil first is it just gives you an idea, and it's easier to be free with a pencil than it is for most people with the pigments.
Sure.
So you can get a branch feel.
Okay.
Nice.
Something like that.
Okay, now we're going to move on to, let me stand on this side of you, to the Sumi brush stroke.
We're branching out, guys.
We're going to move on to Sumi ink, which is very dramatic black. And we can, would you go over and get that, our test fabric?
Oh, good idea.
That roll is test fabric, so you can just bring the whole roll, and we'll take one sheet.
Ooh. All right.
I'm going to take the branch and the stuff off the table so we can put it under, and we can use it to test how much pigment water we have in our brush.
Great. So this will be like a tablecloth /
Protective,
surface.
a protective coat on the table, and a surface we can test our brush pigment water ratio. There we go. All right, now let's make sure we don't have, there we have the pencil line on this side. Now we can see those through, but it doesn't matter. Now we're going to put I love this. This is where we mix the Sumi ink, which if you didn't see it before, it goes like this.
And I'll make sure to put links in the description on YouTube for the Sumi ink. If it's not already there, go back 1 or 2 weeks and
That's where it'll be.
that's where it is.
Sumi ink, Suzuri is the stone. And this one I like because it helps it come to a point. Now, if you want to test your brush, just do it outside.
Sure. Yes, can I have the branch? I liked having it as a
Sure.
give me my muse, my branch model.
Branch of inspiration.
Yep, like that. There we go.
Okay. So now, usually branches are thicker at one end than the other. So I would suggest that whatever end is thicker, and that's your choice, you want to start there. And
Okay.
then you'll get thinner as you go with less
All right.
medium in the brush.
Right. So this is the end that was thicker, and we're just we're gonna see what happens.
Before we go, I'm going to show you guys the way to hold a brush. Not like this tight, but like this, flowing. So you can go in any direction and you're just
Dancing through.
yeah, you're
That's
flowing with it.
Yeah.
Enjoying the movement.
So unlike the curled fingers
Tight.
pinching like a pencil, it's straight fingers, loose.
And I get to tell a story about Bodhi before he was old enough to walk. You want to get some more water in it, or just keep, I would say keep
I'm
going.
gonna keep going.
Okay, good. All right. Now, when Bodhi was probably 6 months old and he was in his high chair in my studio, now you're going to put some more water in it and you're going to go the other side.
Yep.
I was drawing and he kept wanting one of the pencils. He kept, pounding on his little table top and pointing. And so I gave him an unsharpened pencil. Nice. Now I would say we're going to give you another brush that's just water, and maybe you want to go on the inside.
Already have water? What do you mean inside?
Just inside, so it has some
Wow.
pigment, but it will barely have any unless that is
Just water.
okay. But we're going to see.
How it spreads it.
Go do it. Go do it.
Do it.
And now, once you get to the end, there we go. Now you're going to get don't put any more pigment in it, tip a little water in it, and go into the space that you just put water in, and just do some lines, whatever you feel like,
Okay.
whatever feels branchy.
There's some shape in there.
Yeah, do it. You want to,
Want to give it some of the line and shape. There's some interesting.
yes, there are.
cracks and stuff.
Exactly. Nice. All right. Now I would say that get some more of the pigment and do some more of that. So Bodhi at 6 months old was insisting on having a pencil. So of course I gave him an unsharpened one. He's only 6 months old, and he kept putting it down on his table and looking unhappy with me. So then I gave him a really barely sharpened Prismacolor pencil that is very waxy, as I said. So there was no real point where he could hurt himself. And he set that back down and looked at me like, you just don't get it, Mom. And then after many of these tries to give him something I thought he couldn't hurt himself with, I finally gave him a sharpened pencil. And the way he took that pencil and placed it in his hand very carefully, I thought, wow, he's been watching and he's an artist. This is what interests him. And he was so happy to draw for hours once I gave him a sharpened pencil, and he never hurt himself with it.
Never poked myself in the eye.
No. But I could see, we naturally, and as a teacher or as a parent or a guide or a coach, watching what people, especially children, but it works for all ages. Ooh, nice. We're getting some nice, I would say, go for a little more of the black definition lines, the contrasty lines. Look at that. Amazingly good.
You can see how calligraphy was born with these brushes. There's so much you can do with it if you become really learn how to...
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Breathe through the stroke is what my first and only time I followed a lesson in the Sumi brushstroke book. It taught, the way you sit on the floor and all of that, and to breathe through the stroke. So you can do that standing, sitting, on the floor, in a chair. It's about staying fluid in the way you hold your instrument.
Yeah, I feel myself going back to my default of tightening my grip, but...
Well, this is something you can do to see. Because if you're really tight, it's a little tiny circle. If you're nice and fluid, you can do a big circle. You have more range of movement.
Right.
You want the fluid control. It's more like guiding the instrument than controlling it. But look at this. Very
fun. I can see why you like it so much.
Yes, and I think it's just beautiful to watch someone do their very first branch, and I hope this is helping you believe that you can too. And my belief, wholehearted belief, is that nothing is a failure creatively if we learn from it, or in life in general. And so just enjoy the process of learning and give yourself permission to experiment. A lot of people are afraid to, I'm going to make a observation here. The human mind wants to straighten things out. It wants to organize and order and control. That is natural. But in art, you want to stay fluid, and you don't want a solid line. You want to vary, because that's the way nature looks. But that's fine. Right. So keep it loose and keep it, allow it to be, embrace the imperfection, embrace the variety.
Right.
It's looking really good.
Right. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Keep some looseness to it. Keep some soft places.
Now, get some more black, I would suggest, and instead of just lines, maybe some kind of blotchy, different shapes of darker in that.
Right.
And you can use more of the side of the brush instead of the point to do that.
Yep.
Resist the urge to straighten things out. Keep it varied. Keep
Well, and as you twirl
the random. That's interesting. The juxtaposition of random in nature gives it a grace. So stay gracefully random. Oh, nice.
Cool. It's a stick, everybody.
Bodie made his first stick painting. Let's
compare. Let's compare sticks.
All right, you want to hold it up for the camera and
Sure.
and
Thank you for that lesson. That was fun.
all right. And this is an example of not taking the plastic off the back, so all the pigment and water stayed on the front. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I hope you're very proud of that. And
Yeah,
here's
that was fun. Thank you. You guided me through.
the inspiration stick. There we go.
Yep.
And
Stuck with it.
stuck with the stick. All right. Now we're going to move on to some color here. So if you could help me take this paper down.
Okay.
Well, no, we can leave that there.
Great.
All right. So what we're going to do next here.
Can I check some stuff in the office while you're
Sure.
going?
Yeah, I'm going to set up to do the peony. I am going to move this paper so I don't have those big black leaf shapes right under my peony. In fact, I'm going to get rid of this. So the peony will be just me and the peony. And what I can do is use this glass plate that I often use because obviously it's impervious to water and pigment, and it is cleanable with just wiping it off. So don't have to waste paper towels or anything else. So I'm going to go right into the peony, and then I'm going to do the branch after. So that means I need color. It's going to be a pink peony. Take this hanging cord off my scroll frame, which I will also show how I make these scroll frames, which are in my opinion, the funnest, fastest, most frugal framing.
DB Catalyst on YouTube said, "Love all the color. Great job, YouTube."
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. So now we're going to go for pink peony. And I'm going to put my magnifiers on because there's some delicacy to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some water in this shape here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the color and spread it in there. Subtle is good. So I like the idea of, so I'm going to skip and go to one away so that the water doesn't run into each other. And I'll go around the flower and skip so it has a little time to set up before doing the next. Oops, that one had a lot of moisture, but it's perfectly fine. So like I've said, this material, because I took the plastic off the back, it's very porous, I guess is the word. And so it will absorb the water and spread the pigment much quicker than it would if we leave the plastic on. So it really depends on what you want to use it for, which way you go with it. So let's go to this guy. And what I'm doing besides putting the water in the shape, I want to color in. I'm also putting the pigment at the top and base. So there's some lovely variety in the amount of pigment in the shape. One of my policies is to be light in the beginning, because you can always get darker. Oops. But going lighter once you've gone dark can be impossible or a problem, and you can lose the light. So we want to stay light and get darker, more color saturated incrementally. And as I've said before, stop and take perspective breaks on things is a really good way to not overwork, lose the light. And that really spread, but it's a pretty shape, so we're not going to worry about it. One of the cool things about water and painting, which I prefer for a number of reasons, because it is it's natural, and it is a very organic spreading of the pigments that happens when you use water, as opposed to oils, which I don't like the chemicalness of oils, the smell, and
It's looking fantastic. I wanted to clarify for our viewers that I do in fact have the affiliate links in the description of the YouTube video. for the Sumi ink and Suzuri stone.
And the giclée fabric?
I do believe so. If it's not there, I'll add that as well.
Okay, great. So if you do use oils, make sure you ventilate your space. Especially the turpentine or dear Bob Ross, what a sweet human being, died of brain cancer. And he certainly used a lot of the turpentine, I believe it was turpentine, to get some of the beautiful effects he got. And he kind of atomized it in his space by the technique he used to vibrating, hitting his brush back and forth right below where he was breathing, atomized that chemical. And I, of course, do not know if that had a factor to do with brain cancer, but let's be cautious. When I did sandblasting and etching on glass, I built a box that had a vacuum at the back of it that funneled back so that, and I wore a mask so that I wouldn't be breathing little glass particles when I was sandblasting and etching it that were going into the air. So it's important to be careful and mindful about these things. We are.
Michael B. said, sorry to be late. No worries, Michael.
Glad you're here. Thank you.
How you doing, Michael? What's new? Thanks for joining us, Mike. He said, that looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Coming together, bit by bit. I love the aspect of doing art that requires that I be right here in the present, in the moment.
You are very much in the zone.
It's a very meditative, I call it creative reverie. I do believe that, and love of the planet, all the animals, all the creatures and plants and people, and my dear sweet mother and family, and the love of the cosmos, love of myself. So love and creative reverie is what got me through all my difficulty, which is why I wrote my book because so many people asked me to. And when the judge said, which I've shared before, how did she turn out so nice? To my girlfriend who was dating him after we spent an long evening together. Her story's like the women on death row, and that's when I realized all the people that told me I should share my story. And we have good news for you to share in a sec. I thought, well, you know what did get me through, and it's love and imagination, and my love of nature, my love of life itself, my love of the mystery in the cosmos, my love of myself. And so I didn't want the cruel things that other people did to break down my love. And so I did what kept me serene, returned me to serenity, which is creativity, creative reverie, and focusing on the good, no matter how much challenge there is, there's also always good. So speaking of good, will you share our good news that we just got today?
Yeah, I will. So let me pop on. We got some fantastic news. So this is where we're officially announcing for the first time that both of the screenplays that we submitted and both of the TV show pitches that we submitted to Catalyst Content Festival this year are now official selections. So we are up for 4 awards. And for those of you who don't know, we have both written books. My mother's book is her memoir, Incandescence, Rising Above Darkness. You can find it now on Amazon, and I'm putting a screenshot of it up right now. That book I then adapted into a pilot episode screenplay and a TV show pitch. And Serena Catania called her book, Her Positive Spirit is an Inspiration. Serena Catania, co-founder of Sundance Film Festival, that's what she said. And she called it an instant classic in her review. So that has been officially selected to Catalyst, the world's largest independent TV festival. And it's going to be involved in the live script reading and the live pitch competition. And then my book, Northport 1999, which you can read right now if you go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Bodhi the Movie Maker. Michael is already a member. Thank you so much. That we also turned into a pilot episode screenplay and a pitch. And that is also, both of those have been selected. And we just learned that this morning and we've been celebrating. So fantastic news. And Michael said, awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. And Michael said, I think the entire piece would look stunning using only the one color you have and only use the shading of that color. It is a magical crimson pink. And then GB Catalyst said, even the leaves pink? I love the way it looked. And Michael said, yes, even the leaves, just the full spectrum of that color and shading. It is a pretty magnificent color. She's doing a really good job of getting the whole spectrum of shading of just that pink in that one peony. It looks real. It's jumping off the paper.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, now, like I often say, perspective breaks really help. And and also I really love the feedback and we got some of that pink over there. So now we're going to see if we can fix that. As we didn't want to get it over there. That's what happens when you take the plastic off. I had a pretty dramatic a couple days ago. I had 10 of these scroll painting that I'd put on these scrolls that I cut and glued on there. I always try to have paper towels close by for this very possibility. And I set my coffee cup down on a coaster that had a lip on it that I didn't realize, and it spilled on all 10 of the scrolls. But moving fast, using water to dilute the tannins in the coffee stain and daub it up, fixed it. None of them got ruined, even though they looked like they were ruined in the beginning. They weren't. They didn't get ruined. Now the amount of pink, because it does come from red, so that's intense, but that doesn't mean I can't figure out a way to correct that. I will figure out a way to correct that. And meanwhile, you want to come out and
Sure.
show it?
Yeah, I'll get a close-up on it. Is that what you want?
Hanging.
All right, MMM on YouTube said, hey all, yay, more art time.
Good. Thank you for being here.
Good job.
It's on its way. Now, we're going to put your branch back on the table and see if you want to add something to it. We've got a little perspective break on it. Excuse me. I gouged. Okay, well, then maybe we'll save this for Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll both continue.
It'll give me some time to ruminate on it.
There you go. So today's accomplishments. Do we want to move the camera so we can see everybody? So here's Bodie's branch. And here's my peony.
Nice.
And so we will see you Sunday at noon. We're going to skip the Monday one. Commitments came up for Monday, and then I'll go back to Monday and Thursdays at noon. But this next one will be Sunday at noon. Hope you can join us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, telling your friends, subscribing on YouTube, joining the free Patreon, or joining the $5 a month membership and getting the 18 flower stencils for no extra fee. And the stencil designs will be continuing. The next series will be the 26 warblers and wildflowers. So lots going on, lots of creativity to share with you. Hope it's inspiring you to step into your creative flow, increase your happiness, express your emotions, stimulate your immune system, and share your love with the world. Do what you love and share it with the world. Thank you for being here.
All righty, got a comment. Thanks for the stream. We see. All right, thanks everybody, and don't forget to check out patreon.com/Clare Cooley.